Erosion. Welcome, dear travelers. Better get yourself ready and buckle up, for we will equip you with knowledge. Get to know what erosion is all about through a wasteland journey like no other. As simple as it may sound, there's so much more to it, from its definition, causes, effects, and many more. Keep your guards up and let Group 3 guide you on an educational yet thrilling journey.
To get our exploration started, let's look at these. Interesting, right? They are actually examples of erosion that occur in our community. Examples are the soil erosion that happened in Barangay Palian, Tupi, South Cotabato. The erosion that was seen in San Roque, Malilipot, Albay on November 14, 2020.
But wait, there's more. Focus your eyes on these fascinating formations. The pictures on the left is the limestone formations along the coast of the province of Romblon caused by erosion, while the pictures on the right is the Animazola island of Masbate sculpted by erosion caused by surrounding elements. Now that you know what we are talking about, you are ready to proceed to the next zone.
Okay, so hi. Now you're all wondering what exactly is erosion. Erosion is the geological process in which earthen materials are worn away and transported by natural forces such as wind or water. Flowing water, rainwater, and the wind are the prime agents which cause a significant amount of soil loss each year. Soil erosion is also the process of superficial fertile top layer of soil by various agents such as precipitation caused by grazing of lands, removal of topsoil by wind during storms, and water during floods. In simpler words, erosion is the action of surface processes that removes soil, rock, or dissolved material from one location on the Earth's crust and then transport it to another location, just like how a delivery man delivers a product from the seller to the buyer. But remember that too much soil erosion causes serious loss of topsoil and also reduces crop production potential, lowers surface water quality, and damages the drainage networks.
Before we start, let me mention that there are lots of circumstances that affect the transportation of particles, like the weight, sizes, shape, surface configuration, medium type, resistance to particle cohesions. Now, here are the agents of erosion. First is water. Water diminishes the land through erosion, waves that beat upon the shoreline. Water can break down rocks and dirt and carry the particles to another place, which may then result to change of landscapes, change of cliffs, sometimes beaches, and sometimes may form rock formations. Water is actually the most important erosion agent and erodes most commonly as running water in streams. The faster the water moves, the larger the objects it can pick up and transport. Streams erode their banks in three different ways. The hydraulic action of the water itself moves the sediments. Water acts to corrode sediments by removing ions and dissolving them. Particles in the water strike bedrock and erode it. Next agent is wind. Erosion by wind is known as Aeolian erosion, named after Aeolus, the Greek god of winds, and occurs almost always in deserts. Aeolian erosion of sand in the dirt is partially responsible for the formation of sand dunes. The power of the wind erodes rock and sand. Next and last but not the least agent is ice. Glaciers perform erosive function by plucking and abrasion. First, plucking. Plucking is defined as water entering cracks under glaciers, freezing, then breaking off pieces of rock that are then transported by the glacier. Second, abrasion cuts into the rock under the glacier, scooping rock up like a bulldozer and smoothing and polishing rock surface. Thank you.
Whoa, so much learnings, right? But we won't stop there. Erosion actually comes in different sorts or types. These types being number 1, raindrop or splash erosion. This type of erosion is due to the impact of falling raindrops on soil surface, leading to the destruction of the ground structure. The second type of erosion is the sheet erosion. This is the uniform removal of soil in thin layers from the land surface caused by the wind. Sheet erosion is more prone or common in land areas with loose, shallow topsoil that overlie compact soil. The third type of erosion is reel erosion, a form of water erosion in which the erosion takes place through numerous, narrow, and more or not so straight channels called streamlets or head cuts. The reel erosion is the most common form of erosion which you can observe during heavy rainfall. The fourth type of erosion is the gully erosion. This occurs due to the runoff of surface water, causing the removal of soil with drainage lines. Something about gullies is, unless you take steps on stabilizing the disturbance, gullies will continue to move by headward erosion or by slumping of the side walls.
Erosion occurs for several reasons, but one of the reasons is human activity. When humans disturb the earth with construction, logging, and mining activities, the result would be the weakening of the topsoil of the earth, which leads to excessive wearing away of rocks and dirts and erosion. First human activity that causes erosion is deforestation, which is the logging or burning of forest. It is a way in which humans tend to cause erosion. Removal of the vegetation covering the ground causes the soil, which is unprotected against wind and water, to erode. The loss of topsoil essentially destroys the ability for the land to regenerate. Next human activity that causes erosion is mining. Mining activities remove trees, plants, and topsoil from an area. Strip mining is especially harmful because it moves large chunks of land to reach the coal beneath. Unprotected, the earth is open to the elements, and wind and rain erode the land. Developers sometimes blast sections of mountains, exposing even more vulnerable earth. Humans contribute to global warming, and global warming contributes to erosion. Global warming, it is the burning of coal, oil, and gas, which is responsible and to blame for most of the climate changes. Storms are increasing in frequency and severity, washing away of soil. This is especially apparent in coastal areas, where hurricanes and typhoons wear away coastlines and destroy habitats. Next, human activity that causes erosion is construction practices. It is where soil is exposed when areas are cleared for building, and storm water runoff carries sediments to lakes, rivers, and streams. In many parts in United States, regulations require construction areas larger than 5 hectares to have erosion control plans, such as slit, fences, and straw bales to reduce runoff.
Hi, it's me again. But this time, I'll be telling you about the bad effects of erosion. Let's start with the loss of arable land. Arable land is any land that can be used to grow crops. Many of the practices used in growing those crops can lead to the loss of topsoil and destruction of soil characteristics that make agriculture possible. Next is clogged and polluted waterways. Soil eroded from the land, along with pesticides and fertilizers applied to fields, washes into the streams and waterways. This sedimentation and pollution can damage freshwater and marine habitats and the local communities that depend on them. And increased flooding. Land is often transformed from a forest or other natural landscape, such as floodplains and wetlands, into a crop field or pasture. The converted land is less able to soak up water, making flooding more common. But hold up, what's this? Erosion control? What could it possibly be? Well, erosion control is the practice of controlling or preventing soil erosion, especially in agricultural, conservation, construction, and land development applications. The everyday processes of these operations often lead to erosion and can significantly impact surrounding communities, plants, and wildlife. Erosion control helps minimize those harms.
Sadly, there are lots of downside to erosion. And here comes erosion control to the rescue. And why is it really important? Erosion can have an insidious effect on communities and ecosystems, and can also cause problems for agricultural construction and landscaping companies. Erosion control is essential for several reasons. First reason is eco-friendliness. Erosion control measures provide several environmental benefits. They preserve the integrity of local ecosystems and maintain the biodiversity. Next reason is regulatory compliance. For many projects and applications, local or federal regulations require erosion control. Using effective erosion control products and techniques helps your company remain in compliance and avoid fines. Third reason is community protection. Erosion can make land unstable over time. Enough soil erosion can bring water dangerously close to houses, businesses, and schools and threaten them with floods.
Furthermore, what are the environmental benefits of erosion control? Number 1. Reducing runoff velocity. When sites use erosion control blankets, the vegetative layers absorb the energy of the rain as it hits them. By doing so, they reduce the velocity of the subsequent runoff. So, the slower, less forceful runoff carries only a small amount of sediment. Number 2. Maintaining soil integrity. Erosion control blankets also act as filter to trap sediments and keep them from entering runoff streams. The blankets thus help maintain the integrity and absorptive capacity of the soil. The topsoil, which is the most likely part of the ground to erode, contains the most nutrients, so preserving soil integrity also means maintaining fertile land for vegetation. Number 3. Controlling pollutants. The soil from a construction site, for an instance, might contain paint, solvent, or adhesive residues. These pollutants can diminish the water quality, affix themselves to the soil and other areas, stunt vegetation, and poison local wildlife. And using erosion control blankets decreases these harmful effects. That's, for example, maintaining habitats and biodiversity. Using soil erosion blankets keeps soil in place to preserve habitats and help various species flourish. As erosion sweeps more and more sediment away, it can erode significant chunks of the land over time, causing habitat loss for the wildlife species that live there. When these species die off or must live in other places for search of new homes, the area's biodiversity diminish.
That ends Zone 2. It was a lot to take in, I know. That's why we have the summary at Zone 3.
Good day! Allow me to do a recap of what we ventured upon. In conclusion, erosion is a geological process in which natural forces like as wind and water wear away and transfer earth and materials. Flowing water, rainwater, the wind, glaciers, and the human activities such as deforestation and global warming are some of the prime agents that cause a significant amount of soil loss each year. However, this can be avoided with erosion control, which later on gives environmental benefits. One example is the preservation of habitats and biodiversity. Thank you.
We're almost nearing the end of our travel. We shall now be presenting you our references.
We're finally at the last zone. Let's waste no time and get to it.
With all of these being said, we truly hope that you learned a lot from our journey. Through the wastelands, knowledge blossomed. This was once again Group 3, leaving you with our saying that goes, Instead of wind and water, humans get carried away by their emotions. So better be mindful of them to avoid unwanted situations. Thank you very much for listening.